a very focused, objectively driven, goal-based asset allocation. ये बात है जो हम सबको पता होती है, we all know it, it's just putting a discipline to it, that we somehow tend not to do it. I mean, even recognizing it as a nation, हम इस चीज़ में थोड़े से we are a little careless. We choose not to do it and put ourselves in trouble. So I'll try to light it up a little. Joan Elliott, one of my favorite poets, उनका एक कथा है कि चारा साजों की चारा साजी से I forget, but I'll come back to it. A very interesting one which sort of suits the situation. Then diversification across asset classes, styles and sizes. Now now what you're doing is you're matching each one of your liability. For example, हम वो पहले वाली example में से लेते हैं, अगर एक 35-year-old है, तो वो probably 80% अपना portfolio जो है वो stocks में डाल सकता है. Because he's got a long time to go, so he can ride over different cycles of the market. So जो price volatility है, that will come and go, and he can ride over it and capitalize on the potential of the stock market. Now, because he can do that, and he can start off with that, capitalize on that, and then gradually, as time goes by, when he's approaching retirement, वो आहिस्ता-आहिस्ता उसको deplete कर सकता है. Similarly, that same fellow is also happens to save for a car, which is maybe 3 years away, where he cannot go into price volatile assets, where he would probably like to invest into very conservative fixed income focused assets. So a combination, a portfolio of needs would determine a portfolio of assets. You try and utilize, if you don't think you have the skill, you utilize professional research and money managers to put together that asset allocation for you. Now there's advisory available, there are mutual funds that you can rely on. Usually investing on a regular basis takes care of some of the risks, especially the risk of price volatility. So if you've invested on an ongoing basis for a longer period of time, say you were investing from 2002 to 2009, what we've seen in the market, in the stock market, in the interest rate market, in the commodities market is the best and the worst. We've seen markets booming and we've really seen them crash. We've seen gold probably from the range of 400 to 1200 in this time. We've seen Karachi Stock Exchange from 2,000 points to 15,000 points. We've seen interest rates between perhaps 14% to 3-4%, so we've pretty much seen it all during this period. And try and run a study if we have been investing in all assets across the board and just without looking at where the market is going, just kept on doing that. Whatever asset allocation came out of your liability profile, you still would have done reasonably well. Even in the stock market, which looks the worst of all, you would have done very, very reasonable. You know, you started at 2,000, gone up to 15,000, gone back to about 4,700, now at about 10,000. You'd have still probably made a 20% return or so, very comfortably. Rebalancing on regular basis, rebalancing would arise not because you want to take a punt at the market, not because you want to trade very actively, but it would arise because of other variables. It would arise because the set of needs could change, your lifestyle could change, your income streams could change, and therefore you may want to relook at your portfolio and realign it totally. And of course there's a need to monitor your investment performance on an ongoing regular basis and keep looking at your assets. And like I said, if you think you cannot do it on your own, there are the people available who can do it for you. This is a little example how someone could sort of save for college or a parent could save for a child's college. Starting early when the child is born, you can actually go into higher risk investments, and when you can go into higher risk investments because you have time to go, there's that much more chance of you actually meeting your required objective earlier than you thought, or actually ending up saving a little more than you require. So I would needless to say that's the rule of thumb, that you start off as early as possible. Unfortunately, we don't realize that too much. And what you see in that graph is that the white dots are the level of risk, and surely you can take a higher level of risk when you're younger or your child is younger. And as the child grows up, your level of risk, at about 15, if you're thinking that you need to put away some money for your child to go to college, you're pretty much left with a very safe, conservative, fixed income type investments. You're not, you would never be advised to go to anything which is price volatile in any way. So one, start early. Two, put away as much as possible. Try to match your liabilities as closely as possible. A point that we try to make is that when you, earlier on in your career, you don't have financial wealth, but you have human capital that converts to financial wealth, hopefully, as you go along. And therefore, to create that, you have to put some away and recognize your liabilities. I've already commented on life cycle funds. Like I said, there are risk of interest rates, there's risk of stock price volatility, there's risk of price volatility in other assets, there's risk of credit or default. And to avoid or to mitigate all these risks, what you do is that you then pick up a basket of assets and keep investing on an ongoing basis. You'd get some wrong, you'd get some right, but eventually chances are that you'd end up ahead in the game. And these are plans, especially in the West now. There are a basket of plans. They have now actually made it almost a perfect science. So you can actually go and buy a plan which would mature in 2015. You can buy one which matures in 2016, 2017, and so on and so forth. So you can actually have one tailor-made for the exact need. If you have a need which you think would arise in 2020, you can go out and buy a fund which would mature in 2020 with frills attached to it, tax advantages of different kind, etc. But unfortunately, with a very stringent sort of regulatory environment and perhaps not the most progressive tax environment, we are yet unable to create products of that quality. However, we've sort of started off, and I think in due time we'll get there. But these products are getting increasingly popular now. Sure.
The majority in Pakistan, like you're talking about that we need to prioritize the thing, and अगर आज मुझे कोई चीज़ चाहिए तो 2020 में मुझे क्या चाहिए होगा ये मैं आज डिसाइड करूँ. हमारे पास तो आज की जो ज़रूरत होती है वो आज पूरी नहीं हो रही होगी majority of the cases में. तो how come हमारी गवर्नमेंट ऐसी चीज़ें लेकर आएगी जो 2020 वाली नीड्स हमें आज की नीड्स आज पूरी नहीं होती हैं, like majority of our.
I try to stay away from political statements, but no, I'll respond to you. I got your question. It's a legitimate, very valid question. See, some of us would struggle. Some of us would not struggle so much, and it would, like I said earlier, one of the first points that I made, that it would vary from one person to another. However, if you have broken a certain threshold of income, and you're not saving up, that means you are then doing something wrong.
Probably you don't have the choice.
Maybe you do, and maybe you can make your current lifestyle, alter your current lifestyle a little bit to then provide for your later life adequately. Maybe it's not happening now, it will happen a couple of years later. So sometimes you cannot do anything and only be patient. Maybe that's the trick. But most of us, on an average, and like I said, it would matter from one individual to another, but most of us in professional lives are expected to do better as we go along, and therefore that space would be created. However, we'd have to recognize when that space is there and when it happens.